Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
What's up, everybody? Missed the button. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my partner in crime, Sean Ducross. Sean, dude, what an incredible fight week we had for everybody. And, well, a little bit of controversy over the weekend that literally has people thinking about what the hell happened. And yes, as you can see right there on the ticker, Canelo, Triple G, 2 went down. Did Canelo really win? That's the question we need to know from all of our fans. And it's not just what our opinion is, what's yours? Because from everything that I saw, from the breakdowns, you talk about the fans talking, you talk about the opinions from the specialists, you're talking about talk show hosts, you name it. Everybody has basically put their stamp on this fight.
Everybody, Tristan, has an opinion on this fight. We have an opinion. Fight fans have an opinion. Even the reporters that were there that night had their own opinion. One was for Canelo. One was for Triple G. It's just one of those things, one of those events that as you and I were driving up to the studio today was, what side were we on? And you said last week that you were going to build bold prediction and you were going to go none other than Canelo as the winner. I said there's no way Triple G was going to be the winner.
And who was right?
You came out on top. And when I was going back and I was watching that fight, and I was like, there's no way. Freaking Triple G won that fight. There's no question asked. But then you sit back and you analyze this from an analyzed perspective. Not from a fight fan, but trying to figure out how to wrap your mind around what the judges had in their minds about the thought process on how they scored the fight. Okay? I was one of them that said, you know what? Triple G won that fight. Clear as day. But then the more and more I dig into rewatching it, watching clips, digging a little bit deeper, I then noticed myself going back to when I first started this journey of judging combat sports, and then going to where we are now in combat sports and knowing the judges that we know and picking their brain for what they score. Years ago, I'd be one of them that said, you know what? Floyd Mayweather, all he did was run. All he did was hide and tuck his tail, and that's what he did for years. Up until recent, when my mind and my thought process was changed. And that in the boxing game, you were judged on one of multiple things. Is that you can throw all the strikes you want. You can throw a half a dozen strikes, half a dozen punches. But at the end of the day, if you still don't penetrate that guard, those punches that you throw that land mean nothing. So all those years that, yeah, you know what, Floyd Mayweather may have ran, out of all those opportunities of those punches, how many times were they not landed cleanly? A lot of the time, the opponent that he was fighting did not land clean strikes. This was that same concept that when I went back and I reviewed the video, the little clips of this fight, it was essentially the same thing. Yeah, you know what? Gennady Golovkin threw 600 more punches, exaggeration, more than what Canelo did. But one thing Canelo did consistently through that fight was he pushed back Gennady Golovkin. He pushed him back. He stood in that center of that ring. He made Gennady Golovkin uncomfortable. When you land 40% of your punches and then you land 40% of your power punches, where the next guy only throws and lands 27, there's a clear discrepancy of who's actually winning the fight. You can throw less and win a fight if you land more. So when I go back and I say, well, let's really look at this. You look at the body and head shots that you saw from Canelo legitimately rocking the head of Gennady Golovkin. And in that sense, he was winning on damage alone. If you go back again about a month ago, in which we were breaking down the fight of Demetrius Johnson versus Cejudo, and you look at that fight and, well, everybody's like, oh, how did Henry win that fight? You go back down to the judging parameters, thought processes behind it. Damage will win you fights based on how much you throw out there.
Yeah, it's gone to that point, Sean, where you and I were talking about damage versus boxing. I told you from the minute that when I was watching this fight and I was trying to figure out, well, why are people all up in arms? And I was telling you that one of our guys in the chat room, Rudy Lara, says that sweet science in boxing. See, and I told you kind of along the same similar lines is that if you're watching from a boxing purist standpoint and you take out all the numbers, you can kind of see where an issue comes out. But we are now in the game where boxing no longer is relevant. And I say that because the boxing that we have all accustomed to when we grew up, you know, from the Hearns, from the Sugar Ray Leonards to the Mike Tysons, everything that we have known and we have grown with boxing is gone, null and void. There's a couple issues with that is because everybody has come to the entertainment side. Everybody has come to the side of, well, we're fighters. We're not boxers, or we do what we do inside the octagon or a squared circle, a ring, as fighting. Boxing no longer exists. The art of boxing exists in the back of the mind and the figment of somebody's imagination. We as talkers, we as people that grew up with this boxing terminology almost have to be considered whitewashed and gone because of that. Fighting is the norm. So all these so-called analysts and fighters that are from back in the day and age have to change the thought process when judging a fight, when watching a boxing fight, because it is a boxing fight. Triple G came in that and was a boxer. Canelo came into that fight as a fighter. And I can guarantee you if Canelo came in as the boxer and Triple G came in as the fighter, we wouldn't be talking about this.
No, and we were talking about going into this fight that it was eerily similar and different at the same time when you look at the fact that Gennady Golovkin came in this fight as if he was Canelo from the first fight.
Oh, hold on.
Canelo came into this fight as if he was Gennady Golovkin. So you look at the transition and the polarizing opposites that you came into this one, it was really intriguing to the fight fans to see almost a swap of personalities because the boxer was Canelo the last one. The aggressor was Gennady Golovkin. It was completely switched around in this one.
Something I wanted, because I need to go back real quick. Rudy Lara in the chat room says the difference is people know what type of damage will cause future fighters. They have to protect themselves. Fighters fight differently now to maintain their careers. I have to touch on that a little bit just because it comes down to, Sean, I know you hate this. I know this really kind of just rubs you the wrong way. But Mike the Miz Mizanin, I'm calling him out. Because there's an ongoing feud between Mike the Miz Mizanin and Daniel Bryan for years. That led to the huge, infamous promo that he cut on Talking Smack, was the fact that he fought like a coward in the ring. Remember, Sean? That's what Daniel Bryan's beef was. You fight like a coward in the ring. So he says that he wrestles the way he wrestles because he's going to be around long term. He has never suffered concussions, injuries that have sidelined him like Daniel Bryan. So you bring up that comment, and my issue with that is that in boxing, in the fight game, you know the ramifications that come about when you are there. Fighting inside the cage in a squared circle, you know the damages that are going to be brought forth. You know that. This isn't WWE. This isn't a fantasy world where Peter Pan is still young. This isn't that world. This world is of the fight game. You sign on a contract. You don't walk out of a fight when you sign a contract. You don't pull a Vontae Davis and quit in the middle of a game at halftime. You suit up, you show up, you put on a fight. So I don't want to hear about none of this nonsense about people are now fighting for longevity of a career. Your shelf life is that of a running back, 4 years max. That's what we need to get into. You're a fighter. Be a fighter. This fight, you have to look at it for what it was, which was probably one of the best fights right now that we are waiting to see. Now we have more fights that are coming up that we want to see. Triple G Canelo 3 is going to happen. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, we already knew that was going to happen when we saw the outcome of this because you got to have a decisive winner. And you know what? It was mentioned that, well, if we go this route, we're on the page to see Gotti versus Ward this era.
Yes, we are.
We have talked about Arturo Gotti and McKee Ward's brutality in boxing since we started our incarnation of the show. And if you don't know, go on YouTube and look at the ferocity between these two combatants and then look at what we're starting to see with Canelo versus Triple G in that sense. If you look at what's going on between those two, it is inevitable. But you may see the end of Triple G because of how hard you see and hear Canelo hit. Now you talk about, well, are fighters approaching this from a more business aspect? Absolutely. We'll touch on that later on with a certain money aspect to the fight.
Absolutely.
That, yeah, fighters are looking at a more business aspect. How can I protect my investment? But at the same time, when you're looking at your future, sometimes in this game, you got to go for broke if you're not Conor McGregor. If you're not Conor McGregor, who has the best pipes in all of combat sports, to be able to sell himself in any avenue, then you've got to approach yourself as
go out and get your proper 12 with Irish whiskey. Just saying.
You've got to go out there and do what you can to establish yourself and make the money you feel like you need to make, whether it's short-term or long-term. Sometimes boxing is not the best long-term sport. We saw what it did to Muhammad Ali. We saw how it deteriorated him. We've seen how it's deteriorated fighters throughout. So what is the point in boxing to make your career long term? That would be my rebuttal to these fighters. Why do you want to look at boxing long term? Get in, get out. Get your money, keep your health, check in, check out. That would be my thought process. So, do I want to see a Canelo versus Triple G? 3. I personally don't, because we saw the outcome of what happened with McKee Ward and Arturo Gotti.
It took a life of one of the greatest.
Is no longer here. CTE, one of our most admin issues we have with combat sports, with professional sports in general, took a legend in Arturo Gatti away from fight fans too soon because of the damage he sustained over his career. So do I want to see this? No. But then again, you did get switched and say, you know what, you feel bad for Canelo. Because, yeah, you know what, we're worrying about Golovkin. But Golovkin in that fight was headhunting Canelo so bad that in round 10, I think it was, he wobbled Canelo. He was headhunting and hitting him with so many headshots that it begins to wonder that last year we discussed a potential fight between Canelo and David Lemieux. And David Lemieux, that talk subsided a little bit because of the fact that he got knocked out and lost so badly.
And David Lemieux on this card knocked out his foe in the first
And now
round.
we're going back and we're talking about that now David Lemieux versus Canelo could be the next fight if the Triple G and Canelo 3 does not happen. Now, if you're a fight fan, you want to see one of the most ferocious power hitters in the sport today in David Lemieux. The styles are almost nearly identical if you get the Canelo that fought Triple G now. But if you get that guy that is going to stand and get hit by another headhunter in that of David Lemieux, then Tristan, quite frankly, I'm terrified of the outcome we may see down the road of Canelo, even though Canelo is only 28. There are so many ramifications that can come from this now that at the end of the day, this could go one of multiple ways, and it could be one of those ways that nobody wants to discuss or even talk about right now. But as a fight fan, I have to say, you know what? Let's see a 3 that is decisive.
We have to end this fight between these two men. Because of our era, this has been the fight that everybody wanted to talk about. Everybody wanted to see. We have to put an ending to this. But there's one ending that still keeps circling around, and we keep talking, and we keep hearing about the rumblings. This week it will come again. This fight will happen. It will happen for the second time. In the meantime, history will be made. Maybe tides will turn. More with the Cross Brothers Sports Warriors right up here on IELiveTV.com, on Facebook Live. Thank everybody that's tuning in, joining us. 86ers in the building. Fight Book MMA. We're the New Cross Brothers Sports Warriors. We'll be right back.
You're now listening to the Sports Warriors with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.
I'm Tristan Ducross, one half of the Ducross Brothers. Let me talk to you about Phantom. Phantom is bringing you closer to the field every day with their Facebook page. From sports, from MMA combat sports, to basketball, to baseball, to soccer. We got every sport covered, from fans to professionals. Just go to www.watchphantom.com.
Hello, I'm Lyle Murdoch of IE Live TV. Have you ever had an idea or dreamt about producing your own show? Or maybe you just have an event that you'd like to make available online? Then contact us here at IE Live TV. We are using the latest technology in live streaming and top quality video equipment in our productions. Servicing all audio and video needs, our systems are compact, wireless, and completely mobile, so our presence is barely noticeable. Here at IE Live TV, we're doing high quality audio and video productions at a fraction of the cost of other production studios. To find us, just go to www.ielivetv.com or give us a call at 866-831-5737. IE Live TV for quality live video streaming.
What's up, everybody? We are back here at the Cross Brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my partner in crime, the one and only Sean Ducross. iLiveTV.com. 86 is in the building. Sean, it's incredible fight week, and it's only going to get better as we head into probably the biggest fight, Anthony Joshua versus Puffkin. And every single time I hear that name, I want to say Puffkin. Yes. Something like that, sure.
Let's go with it.
But when we're talking about this, we're talking about. I cannot help but think about this, and I don't want to throw it out there just because of what I'm about to say. But why do we have to have a Britain versus a Russian? Why? Why do we have to deal with that? We already know the issues and stuff like that with Russia,
Because apparently we have to have an ending to something.
so this is how we're going to end it.
Yes. But what's going to end up is what is the outcome that the fight fans can anticipate for Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Puffkin.
See.
So you look at Alexander, and Alexander, it's basically champion versus champion. Olympian versus Olympian. Well, not necessarily champion versus champion, but Olympian versus Olympian. They both have won medals. You look at these guys. You look at Alexander. He's been around the block. He's long in the tooth a little bit, but unfortunately, he's had 35 fights. And you look at this, and his last big claim to fame was the fact that he fought Vladimir Klitschko. Well, we know Anthony Joshua. He has fought Vladimir Klitschko. He's fought him, and he defeated Klitschko. Well, Alexander didn't defeat a Klitschko. He lost to a Klitschko back in October. And you looked at and you're like, well, how did we get here? Well, we got here because Wilder didn't want to fight Anthony Joshua, or Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight Wilder. And then Wilder went in to now sign on the dotted line to fight Fury.
But if you ask Anthony Joshua, neither one of those two are the true lineal champion, because it's funny that Tyson Fury has continuously been in trouble for steroids, drugs, been out of boxing for something like 2 years. He should not be the lineal champion. Yes, he is. Multiple times. Same with this Russian dude. This Russian dude has been popped twice for drugs, for steroids. Tyson, it's boxing. It really is boxing. Tyson Fury is the lineal champion. Held the heavyweight division hostage for several years. 3 titles by Anthony Joshua says that he should be the lineal champion because he owns most of the titles.
Yeah, he owns the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, the IBO titles.
And soon to add the WBA heavyweight championship, which will make it 4. And now the only championship that he's missing is the one that Tyson Fury is holding. So, at some point, folks, we're looking at the end game between the Anthony Joshua and Puffkin fight. And we're looking at this fight as a test for Anthony Joshua that this should not go the distance. He should end this fight early and quickly, make this statement, call out the winner of Tyson, call out or the Tyson Fury and the Wilder fight.
Because you know that's the only way this is going to come down to. That fight has to happen. This is a precursor to the big payday in boxing for heavyweight. These two guys are going to talk mad junk to each other, and they're going to sell the fight. You're just hoping that Anthony Joshua is not looking past Alexander and looking at Wilder and looking at that big payday coming, that hopefully they can narrow down the
You
gap.
want to talk about a payday, dude? Think about this. How left is this? You want to talk about the A side, B side in boxing, about how you operate the contracts? Sean, the man Joshua is getting paid $20 million. Alexander is getting paid $6 million. Estimated pay-per-view buys, $1.2 million.
Not to mention what they're going to get too off the streaming from DAZN.
Yeah.
This is one of the first big showcases on DAZN streaming. So you're looking at that this, if Anthony Joshua can sell by himself.
Go ahead. Get DAZN. Order DAZN right now. You can get it on your Apple phone, on your iPad, whatever streaming service that you have. You can get DAZN for $10 a month. Just saying. And the first sign up, you get this pay-per-view for free. Just saying. So go ahead. Do yourselves a justice. Get this. DAZN, are you kidding me? They have the broadcast team, Sugar Ray Leonard, Brian Kinney,
Sergio Mora on the prelims.
like, what are we doing? DAZN going all out for this incredible fight. And in the meantime, going just back one little thing is that Joshua's been tested 12 times. How many times have Alexander been tested?
Right? And then
He says that as far as he knows, Alexander's been tested twice. But Joshua's been tested multiple times. Insert Russia. Just
see, and you look at this and you look, well, let's try to figure out how Alexander has an opportunity in this fight. And Alexander has an opportunity in this fight because Anthony Joshua has notoriously known to struggle against much shorter opponents.
yes, he has.
People who come a little bit more inside on Joshua. So if Alexander wants any shot at trying to derail the hype machine behind Joshua, he's got to get inside. He's got to use the awkwardness between the height, between him and Joshua, and make Joshua feel uncomfortable. If he does that, that's his only opportunity to shock the world. Can he be Joshua to what Joshua was to Vladimir Klitschko? That's the question.
Yes, and here's another question is what's coming around the world right now is the man that has 50-0 is about to put that record back on the line as Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2 is coming. And you and I talked about this, Sean. You and I talked about it. And I keep sounding like now the line that between Eminem and MGK now is let's talk about it. As we sit here and we talk about the Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather 2 fight. And many people are trying to figure out, well, why is this happening? Well, it almost took like a decade and a half, exaggeration, for the Manny Pacquiao fight versus Floyd fight 1. Why not do 2 now? 40 versus 41. Manny Pacquiao, you had Floyd Mayweather take on Conor McGregor. That made a lot of money. A lot of money. Top Rank ain't paying Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao started his own little side dig. So, here we are. Money drives. Money drives.
If the money is right, you can buy anybody's love, affection, it seems like in this day and age. Or in this case, you can lure anybody out of retirement for the right amount of money. It begins to wonder, is Floyd Mayweather the hooker in this?
Wow, really? Really? That's the direction you went?
If at the moment, we'll see where this goes.
Damn.
But you're beginning to wonder.
Can I get that damn, son?
Damn, son.
You look at that, you're beginning to wonder, is that how this is going? Manny Pacquiao says, dude, I can get a payday. I can rep me. I don't have anybody else repping me. So guess what? Hey, Floyd, come back. I can get you paid. We'll get more money. So at this point, how many more times? He's got to be running out of money. I guess his strip club is not spending, giving him that much payday.
He had all the bitches on the payroll.
Yeah, and apparently he's got more to pay. Including himself, that he needs to pay him more self. Maybe he should be flying to Abu Dhabi and getting a customized watch that looks like probably costs like $12 million to make, and then blasts the guy's phone number out on Instagram. Maybe he shouldn't be spending 12 mil. Maybe he shouldn't be spending 12 mil on a strip club. So maybe Conor McGregor had something on Floyd Mayweather. That maybe he was running out of money. I know that we got people that watch our show that are Floyd Mayweather fans. My apologies, but he's the hooker in this situation. Pac-Man has a chance to derail Floyd Mayweather. But my question is that how do we get this fight 3 years later after almost your big blow-up, exaggeration of the fight never happened for over a decade, and by the time we get it, Pacquiao's past his prime. Well, is Floyd Mayweather past his prime? Is Manny Pacquiao back to being hungry? Manny Pacquiao finished his first fight since 2009 where he dropped Lucas Batiste 3 times. So is he finding a resurgence of power? Or is there other issues? We're going to have to wait and find out. But this fight is scheduled soon, that the contracts are going to be handed over by the end of this week. And at the end of the day, that we potentially will get a date either between December 1st or December 8th.
But either way you cut it, we are now in the process of seeing Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2. It's going down on one of the 2 dates. Both men need to get paid. Here we are. More with the Cross Brothers coming up next. We got Bellator 205. AJ McKee. The headline, is it his time? More with the brothers right after this. Sean and Tristan Ducross, 86ers, Fightbook MMA. Get your MMA bobbleheads at MMAbobblehead.com. In the meantime, IELiveTV.com, Facebook Live, YouTube, Phantom Family. That's where it's at. We'll be right back.
You're now listening to the Sports Warriors with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.
I'm Tristan Ducross, one half of the Ducross brothers. Let me talk to you about Phantom. Phantom is bringing you closer to the field every day with their Facebook page. From sports, from MMA combat sports, to basketball, to baseball, to soccer. We got every sport covered. From fans to professionals. Just go to www.watchphantom.com.
Hello, I'm Lyle Murdoch of IE Live TV. Have you ever had an idea or dreamt about producing your own show? Or maybe you just have an event that you'd like to make available online? Then contact us here at IE Live TV. We are using the latest technology in live streaming and top quality video equipment in our productions. Servicing all audio and video needs, our systems are compact, wireless, and completely mobile, so our presence is barely noticeable. Here at IE Live TV, we're doing high quality audio and video productions at a fraction of the cost of other production studios. To find us, just go to www.ielivetv.com or give us a call at 866-831-5737. IE Live TV for quality live video streaming.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in today for an impactful show. We've talked about Canelo, Triple G, and that mess, whatever you want to call it. Joshua versus Popkins going down on September 22nd on Dancing. $10 a month can get you a subscription. And the first sign up, you get this pay-per-view for free, so you might want to do that so you don't miss this.
We are about 3 weeks out from IE Fight Night, October 20th, Ontario, California, Night of the Champions. If you haven't gotten your tickets, get them now while you can, because you do not want to miss the future rising stars of mixed martial arts, amateur MMA, going down October 20th.
Champions will be crowned live that night. Incredible night. You got kids, youth MMA, all the way to amateurs. It's going to be an incredible fight night. Some incredible fights lined up for you folks. In the meantime, so does Bellator 205.
Do they?
Or I don't know. We might be falling it down the tube like Mario and Luigi. But AJ McKee gets his shot.
Yeah, but let's not talk about AJ McKee, because now you talked about Mario Kart and you talked about going down the rabbit hole or whatever they do in that thing. But when you hear the
didn't they
it
do
sounds
that
like
with
we're playing
Roger
Mario Kart.
Yes.
Where we're driving down and we're playing Mario Kart and we're hitting those little buttons and things, and it shoots off a shell and it hits you and it makes you spin around.
Or like a banana peel?
Yes. It makes you do that, and that's what I feel like we're getting with Patricky Pitbull versus Roger Huerta.
And Roger Huerta is going to slip on the banana peel.
Because it's like they're just trying to throw everything and anything at Patricky Pitbull, but all it is they're slipping. They're falling. They're getting hit. Nothing's happening. You dig into the bag of tricks and you pull out Roger Huerta.
Again, this dude took a fight on short notice and got choked out by Benson Henderson.
And looked bad.
Now you take another short notice fight and you're taking on Pitbull. In the immortal words. Hey, we actually got it. And now we're going to see firsthand that Roger Huerta is going to get the banana peel slip or the turtle shell knocked down. And it's going to end. And it's not going to end well for Roger Huerta, because his decline is simply that.
Yeah, so it's like, why is it that you went ahead and picked Roger Huerta as the guy to take on Patricky Pitbull? You were talking about Patricky Pitbull being a potential candidate to fight again at the light heavyweight.
And
the lightweight
talked
title.
about before about fighters just taking fights. At some point, you got to be able to look at yourself and go, man, this ain't a matchup I want.
At some point, you got to
take
start.
the immortal words of Samoa Joe right now. He going to go night-night. Roger Huerta better call his family, better call his wife, tell his kids that he ain't coming home.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Who said somebody better call your mama?
I feel bad for this kid.
He was good. He was good at one point.
Sean,
but when you're 2-3 in the last 5 and you got choked out by Benson Henderson and you looked horrible doing it, there's not a whole lot left.
Up the full horseman hand sign. No, 4 wins. in 10 years for Roger Huerta.
And yet he's getting this fight. No, thank God it's not the co-main event and it's John Slater co-main eventing. But then the main event is AJ McKee versus John Macapa. It was supposed to be AJ McKee versus Pat Curran.
Which I would have saw when I saw that fight. I thought, okay,
that's a big step up.
That's a great step up because you want to get that title shot. You need that kind of that name back of you, that fighter that can push you, and instead you get John Teixeira. And I like John Teixeira. I think he's a good fighter from his resume and what he has done. He has ran off wins after wins.
He's not the level, though, of Pat Curran.
No, he is not.
But he has lost decisions to Pat Curran and Daniel Weichel. So the fact of the matter is that he has fought upper echelon guys. He knows what it is to take on a legit rising star in AJ McKee that is shocking the world right now, who's 11-0 and just seemingly can finish you on the feet, finish you on the ground. It really doesn't matter where he goes, but he could go ahead and beat you.
Man,
but if he wants to win this fight, to me, it's got to be that of, okay, I'm going to strike and I'm going to knock out Macapa because of the fact that Macapa has 10 submission victories. So he's going to look to try to get the fight to the ground and avoid the striking of him and McKee.
But AJ is so well-rounded, so good pretty much everywhere. This fight is not going to go to distance, and that's something that Macapa is used to, taking his fights into deep waters and taking his fights into the distance. This fight is not going to go to distance. It's meant for one thing, meant for one thing only, and that simply is AJ McKee will win. This won't go the distance. Add another check mark to his resume and give him his title shot. That's what needs to happen.
I'm just happy that finally Bellator took that step up for AJ McKee.
They had to, man.
And finally gave him something with somebody. It started with Justin Lawrence. He went the distance with Justin Lawrence. Showed the ability to go that way. That, you know what? If I don't have my best game and I don't finish the fight, I can still go the distance, still put in the body of work against a legit vet. And a guy who had a lot of hype behind him at one point in Justin Lawrence. So that was a big coup. Now to give him John Macapa, bravo for Bellator to take that next step up. And Antonio McKee should be very proud that his son's got that next step up to show that, hey, I can raise the bar to the next level. And then at the end of this, AJ McKee, call out Pat Curran that when he is healthy, you get that next shot, and then that paves the way for that title shot.
So you don't think after this hitting the 11-0 mark or the 12-0 mark, you don't think that's enough for him after this fight to get a title shot?
Not yet.
You think one more and then we talk?
Because you're just looking right now at Justin Lawrence as being his lone step up. This is his second step up. So then Pat Curran would be his third step up. If he fought Pat Curran in this one, then absolutely. I would say, you know what? He beat a former champion. He deserves to be there. That's the route I would go. But right now, because it is for the fact that it is John Teixeira, let's wait one more fight.
See, and that's kind of how I feel right now with the John Salter and the Rafael Lovato fight. Because finally this fight's happening. It was supposed to happen back at Bellator 198. But Salter had an eye issue that he had no idea about. And all of a sudden he's reading reports from media outlets saying that he's pulled from the fight. And he's calling frantically to figure out what the hell happened. And they're told, well, your eye's messed up, so you can't fight. Medically unable to fight. Medically not cleared. He now has had eye surgery on both eyes. He's coming into this fight feeling revved up, ready to go.
Hungry.
Yeah. This is the number one contender fight.
It's almost probably the best fight on the card in theory. Is that like they should have probably been the main event and the co-main event in AJ McKee and Macapa. But either way, you can't argue which one of those two should be main eventing.
But John Salter's mindset is that, dude, 15 minutes. I'm going in there for a 15-minute fight, or it's going to be a quick night for one of us. and you're dragging us out of that cage. That's Salter's reaction to this. And I'm like, hey, Salter, you might want to calm down on that for a minute, because the winner of this fight will face Gegard Mousasi or Rory McDonald. Or if that fight does not happen, then if Lyoto Machida wins his fight in Bellator, you always have to say, okay, pause on this number one contender fight and put these two, one of these two versus Lyoto Machida. And then we could talk about a title shot. But man, I don't know. Salter and Lovato versus Roy McDonald or Gegard Mousasi or Lyoto Machida. Either way you cut it, man, that's going to be an incredible fight for these guys.
What's going to be an incredible fight too, Tristan, is the fact that, you know, we've been seeing it on social media. WBKFF, World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation. We've been seeing it for months. Our boys at Fightbook broke this story this past weekend. It has now gained stream and mainstream media all across. So bravo for World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation. Sounds like a mouthful to say. Even when you say WBKFF, sounds like a little bit of a mouthful. But we've been seeing it for months. Since the first inception of bare knuckle fighting, the original, I guess you can say, the first one came about, and then this one started. You were wondering about, well, is this ever going to come to fruition? You see them signing Chris Lieben, Phil Baroni, Christina, what's her name?
Marks?
Yeah, Christina Marks. Then the biggest one yet, the main event on their November 9th pay-per-view. You've got Johnny Hendricks, the recently retired,
and the Brennan Ward, the recently retired
Brennan Ward, who bailed out of Bellator 205.
Pull the Vontae Davis. There you go. I knew I would get it in here again.
Bailed out of Bellator
at halftime.
And subsequently say, you know what? I'm good. I'm retiring from MMA. But then signs with these guys to compete in bare knuckle fighting. And it's like
at 185, keep in mind. 185.
Yeah. So bravo for it's going to take me a while. WBKFF,
World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation,
to get this big coup of a fight. Because what's interesting is, like, when you look at the first bare knuckle, yeah, you know what? They had some MMA guys that headlined it. They had some guys you knew about.
They had one incredible fight.
But then you look across the bow and you see these guys. They're bringing people off the reservation, and they're putting guys up there that fight fans know exactly who they are and probably wouldn't mind seeing them fight bare knuckle. So you got to give props that, to me, I think their approach is better. Whether this really takes off, I don't know yet. And I'm trying to play both sides, because it's like November 9th will be the telling of what you're in to see. And
because it will be back in Wyoming.
It will, and being Casper. So you look at this fight and you're like, they've got more potential to lure in the average fight fan than that of the original bare knuckle that was just competing.
Who doesn't want to see Sean Merriman lights out, Merriman getting lights out?
That's the only knock I have on what is being put out on social media by these guys. And I mean no disrespect to them. But if I were them...
But that needs to stop because he looks bad.
If I were them, I would stop showing Sean Merriman's training because it looks so bad.
Like if you cannot throw a punch, and I'm one that you should have seen me a few years back with Quest, and I was the first person to demonstrate the Quest head that they had, and I for some reason I could throw my rights, I could throw everything from my right side. But if you ask me to throw anything with my left, I can't do it. And what do? They ask me to throw left. I can't throw a left. I ain't even trying to throw a left. If I can keep you spinning and going right, I got you all day. I keep you going around. But you guys you have to stop showing Sean Merriman.
That is the one knock I have on everything they've been doing on social media. That is the one knock I have them. Please, if you want to keep the structure and what you guys are doing and what the potential is behind it, stop showing Sean Merriman.
Because you can do so much more with the other fighters that are on this card that you're doing with Sean Merriman and elevate those guys. You don't need to elevate Sean Merriman. He's lights out. Everybody knows who he is. The mystique should have been behind Sean Merriman.
If anything.
If anything. Like, I would have used the mystique behind Sean Merriman.
Because of the fact
former Pro Bowl NFLer. Former
turn professional wrestler.
Right? Turn professional fighter. About to debut in bare knuckle. Oh, my God. How is he? Has he been training? Yada, yada, yada. Like, leave the mystique. Let people kind of think about what Sean Merriman is. Then if you saw him pull a CM Punk, you would know, oh, well.
But now you're going in, and you kind of have an idea of Sean Merriman, that the guy that he's going to be fighting, like, he has no shot. Unless the guy that you're putting him up against is going to be that of somebody of equal caliber that maybe is a former football player that you're putting him against. I don't know. But
either way,
that's my only knock.
Faces Sean Merriman will have more technique and more skill than Sean Merriman. Just saying.
That's my only knock on the WBKFF.
Yeah, but one thing that I'm really interested in seeing is that Tony Lopez, Joey Beltran, the fight that literally stole the first bare knuckle fighting championship pay-per-view, number 2 will be on WBKFF. So alone, I kind of want to buy the pay-per-view just to see that again.
Right? So,
like, if you did not see the first one between these two,
so Paul
pay-per-view admission
so
right there.
Paul Tyler and the crew over at WBKFF is doing great things. The potential's there.
Oh, dude, incredible potential.
That's my only knock on what I've seen on social media right now is them showcasing Sean Merriman through social media when, like you say, I agree, use it as mystique.
Man, you would have lured the heck out of that.
You would have sold it on that alone, just like the UFC did on CM Punk.
Or what the UFC is doing, UFC and the WWE right now is using Brock Lesnar as the mystique. Like, he was supposed to go over to the UFC in the drug testing, the drug pool, and all of a sudden showed up at WWE Hell in a Cell. Everybody's like, well, why is he showing up at the WWE Hell in a Cell?
Because it's Brock Lesnar.
7 figures.
Who makes 7 figures in the WWE?
Brock Lesnar.
Or in professional wrestling?
Brock Lesnar.
Why does he do that, Tristan? Because he's a what?
He's a money draw.
He's a money grab.
And when you're going to Saudi Arabia and you're getting paid $45 million a show.
And you bumped your mic, just kind of wiggle it. There you go.
And when Saudi Arabia pays you $45 million for a show, you can pay $7 million to Brock Lesnar
and say, come back for one.
For one. $45 million to do a WWE show?
So everybody's been asking about, well, now he's going to be a crown jewel, and you're going to look at a triple threat between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman. If you're Brock Lesnar and they're like, oh, Brock Lesnar can't lose this fight. Yeah, he can.
7
figures says he can lose this fight and go collect a payday with the UFC and collect another 7 figures. You wonder why this guy could just show up and do whatever he wants.
Right? Show up in the UFC, show up in WWE. You can show up in your backyard if you pay him 7 figures. This guy's all about the money. He's the money draw. Fortunately, that's our sport.
You want to hire someone? You want to hire Brock Lesnar for your kid's birthday party? Pay him 7 figures. He'll show up.
Right? Maybe F5 you right through it, or if you have a cage door, maybe kick it right off the hinges. Just saying.
But you know what? We're the Cross Brothers. We love to kick things off the hinges.
Absolutely. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is my brother Sean Ducross. MMAbubblehead.com to get all your local MMA bubbleheads. 86ers, IELiveTV.com. We also got Fightbook MMA. In the meantime, we're your brothers. We do this every Wednesday.
Again, going out October 20th, IE Fight Night. Don't miss out on supporting your local amateurs. Next week, we'll have amateur guests. We're looking to bring on CSW rep Coach Ben Jones next week to discuss his 3 fighters that are on IE Fight Night.
Yes, so be sure you to pick up that show and watch that show. Ben Jones is going to be on this show. In the meantime, that's it for us in the Warriors Den. We're the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. IELiveTV.com, Fightbook MMA, 86ers. Follow us on Twitter at the Ducross Bros. Facebook us, Sean and Tristan Ducross, or like our fan page, the Ducross Bros. And until next time, we're out of here.
You're now listening to the Sports Warriors with Sean and Tristan Ducross every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You want all your local amateur MMA news? You want a new fresh take on pro MMA? This is your show every Wednesday on IELiveTV.com and Facebook Live.